If you here to see the Clippers, make some noise. Who that? Talking about who that? Staples the center.
I'm Madelyn Burke for LAC TV, and welcome back to Clippers Weekly. Clippers.com insider Eric Patten joins me, and we're going streaking. All right, not us, but they are. Eric, the Clippers have not lost since November 26th. What is going on with this team?
You know what? They have played a variety of different ways. I mean, they've won defensively, they've won offensively. I mean, that's something that almost everyone has talked about. But the primary thing is defense. DeAndre Jordan this morning was even talking about that defense has set the tone. I think the defense coming from the starters has really been a big point.
This team has hung their hat on defense both on the wins and the losses. The losses, they've said, hey, our defense wasn't functioning. And I was talking to Chris Paul the other day, and he was saying, you know, one of the biggest changes that he's noticed in this team is that they're starting to trust each other more. I mean, obviously, this team came together very quickly, and they were really close off the bat, but the more time they're spending together, the more time they're trusting each other. He was telling me sometimes they have conversations on the court, they're almost like sibling-like. You know, they're bickering a little bit, hey, you need to get back over here, you need to get back over there. But they trust each other to know that, you know, we're all in this together. And I mean, that's huge for this team.
Yeah, you know, a sign of that is that the last few practices and shoot-arounds and things like that have been a little shorter than they were earlier in the season. And it's not because they're goofing around or wasting time, it's because they're really focused and they're kind of learning how to work with each other in a more efficient way, and it's kind of showing up on the court.
And speaking of working with each other too, the shoot-around before the New Orleans game, the game that the Clippers matched that Buffalo Braves record of 11 straight wins, it was very involved. You know, it wasn't so much the coaches saying, okay, this is what we're going to do, but it was interactive and it was engaging, and the players were giving their opinions and the coaches were asking the players what they thought, and it was all kind of all-encompassing, and guys felt like that was more, I think that looking at the way that they reacted to that, I thought that was a good way to kind of approach it.
Well, I think that's one of the underrated things about Coach Del Negro is that he incorporates kind of everybody into it. I've seen him talk to Chris, Blake, and DeAndre about kind of where they should be setting a screen for Chris, and then he'll ask Chris, like, where would you prefer the angle, or where do you think you should be coming from on this play? And he'll kind of incorporate what he wants him to do with what they want to do as well.
Exactly, and I feel like coaching has got to be a little bit like parenting, you know? You give your kids the best you've got, you say, okay, here's what we're going to do, and go out in the real world and be successful. And, you know, I mean, as a parent, you want to teach your kids the right difference, you know, the things that you want them to do. But you also, as they get older and more mature, or as they become a more veteran team, you want them to be able to make their own decisions.
Yeah, kind of do their own thing.
And do their own thing, right?
Yeah.
Is that kind of an interesting analogy? No?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, well, looking at the schedule for the rest of this month, I mean, is it possible to think, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but I mean, looking at the schedule and looking at the way this team is playing, like, how long could this streak last?
Well, you know, when we originally looked at the December schedule, we thought the Boston game was going to be a real telltale sign of where they were as a team, and Boston's hovering around 500, so I don't know if that one's necessarily the big-time matchup that you thought it was. Winning in Utah is always difficult, but proven that that can be done.
Proven it's possible. And then Christmas Day against a Denver team that's been playing pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, it could go 13 games into Christmas for sure, and who knows where it goes from there if we get past that game.
Well, it will be an exciting ride, and definitely hope you guys stay along for it. Thanks for joining us again for another episode of Clippers Weekly with Clippers.com insider Eric Patten. I'm Madelyn Burke for LAC TV. Make sure you tune in next week.